Welcome to 5 and 5 from the One Stop Co-op Shop, where I discuss 5 key elements of a game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today we're looking at Forgotten Waters from Plaid Hat Games. Disclaimer that I was sent a review copy of the game. Pirate games are hot this year, but does this one rise to the top of the pack? Let's find out and get to the list. I'm going to start off with a con at my number 5, and it's number 5 because it is very dependent on your personal gaming group, and that's both the semi-co-op elements in the game as well as how things work with different player counts. So first, looking at the semi-co-op, the game allows you to sometimes steal treasures from other players, and you also compete over infamy to get onto more desirable actions, but besides that, the game is entirely friendly to co-op. You can all win together, you all help each other out to survive. And at least for me personally and the game groups I play with, this is one of my least favorite things. I hate the semi-co-op elements in Gloomhaven and we house rule it out. I don't really like them here. We just basically played cooperatively and tried not to hurt each other. But if your game group likes things like Munchkin or Cutthroat Caverns and just likes backstabbing each other even when you're theoretically playing together, you might have a really fun time with this. Now for the player count issue that I'm kind of lumping together, it's cool that they allow you to play with 1 to 7 players. How many games do that? But it gets really awkward. Things aren't balanced too well. With 1 player, you get far too many actions and it's too easy to achieve your life goals and get the best ending. Same thing with 2 players. I think the game is best and most balanced at 4 or 5 players, right in that range. And then 6 and 7 might be too cutthroat. So it's going to really depend on your group whether you find that sweet spot for how you want to play. But I'm flipping to a pro for my number 4, and that's the personal characters the game gives you. So basically you have this little sheet for each player, and it has a backstory to your character. You fill in kind of this Mad Lib style thing that will add elements to your backstory in often hilarious ways. You get these special unique personal events. You have personal endings, 3 possible ones, and even different ways you level up. So you might be good at some skills and not so great at others. I just think it's really nice. It adds a nice kind of personal flair to everything, adds more funny story, which I'll talk about more later, and it's a nice element overall. But I'm down to a mix for my number 3, and that's the variety in the gameplay and kind of the value of how much you get from it. In a way, Forgotten Waters is a lot like recent escape room games or mystery games that have limited numbers of cases, in that you have 5 scenarios out of the box, but they aren't really that replayable. Once you've seen the way the story goes, once you've seen the choices available to you, you're going to be hitting almost the exact same notes if you play through again. But on the positive side, I do have to give them credit for making each of the scenarios feel very different, both thematically and story-wise, and even some of the stuff you're doing and the unique events that can hit you, even if they seem similar at first to other stuff you've experienced. So it's not all bad, but go in with your eyes open in terms of how much you're spending and how much you expect to play the game. I have another kind of related mix at number 2, which is the core system of placing your characters on actions and then rolling dice for skill checks. On the positive side, I like the diversity in actions, again, especially when you're seeing the unique events and locations for your scenario. And I like that the iconography gives you a hint of what an action might reward you with, and how the choices will align with your character sheet, and you want to gain experience in certain ways to help you reach your happy ending. But kind of like the previous point, the more you play, the less the actions will really seem that unique and interesting, and the skill checks tend to just be rolling a d12. And once you've done that for 2 hours straight, if you play through a scenario in one sitting, it's going to seem a little dull eventually. But I'm ending with a big pro for number 1, something I love, and that's how funny and goofy and well written the story is. So the characters you meet are great, the arc across each scenario is fun, the scenarios have some connecting elements. Now it's not a campaign between the 5, but they have little pieces that crop up from each other. And although some players won't like it, there is an app on a website you need to use, and that has fully featured narration and character acting that's really good. Sound effects, music, really brings the whole experience to life and makes this a super fun narrative game, even if some of the mechanics aren't the best. Overall, Forgotten Waters was a hit, a real hoot with everyone I played it with. My son really enjoyed it, my wife liked it, my hardcore gamer friends really enjoyed it. The storyline, the humor, the variety between the scenarios, the feeling of controlling this unique character, it's all great. But there are definitely some questions to ask yourself in case this one will fall flat for you. you? Do you like app integration in a game because you have to use it? Do you enjoy a little bit of cutthroat semi-co-op because if you don't play with that, you might feel like you're missing some parts of the game? And the biggest one, I think, is are you going to be able to trade this or sell this or play it with different groups so you can get the full value out of it? Because otherwise you're looking at realistically 5 good to great plays of the game before you've pretty much seen all it has to offer. If you want to see the game in action, Colin did a few videos a while ago, so click the link right there to watch one of them. Good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.